Can the Prime Minister tell us how much a Brookfield executive will save with the private jet tax cut and how much more Canadians will have to pay when food prices go up? Speaker, after 10 years of Liberal inflationary deficits, working Canadians have never had it so tough. People lined up at food banks and parents putting beef back on the grocery store shelf were desperate for something in the budget to bring prices down. Did the Prime Minister scrap hidden taxes on food? No. Did he scrap the 17-cent fuel standards tax? No. The Prime Minister heard the cries of working Canadians, and what did he do? He scrapped the luxury tax on private jets and yachts. That's right, the only measure in this budget to make things cheaper will only apply to boats and airplanes. Can the Prime Minister tell us how many Canadians lined up at food banks will benefit from the private jet tax cut?
The Honourable Minister of Jobs and Families.
What Canadians want is a government that will invest in their futures and invest in their possibility, and that's exactly what we've been doing, Mr. Speaker. 67,000 new jobs added this month, Mr. Speaker, 2 months in a row where we're seeing unemployment go down. And what's great about this, Mr. Speaker, is youth unemployment is going down. So the investments we're making are working. This is a budget for young people, for seniors, for families. They're going to vote against things like dental care. They're going to vote against things like child care. That's what families need, and that's exactly what this budget delivers.
Member for Regina Capel.
If they really wanted to give workers a break, they'd scrap the industrial carbon tax that their American competitors don't have to pay. Now we all know who this budget really was for. It was a Brookfield boardroom budget. After all, the billions in extra debt means bankers and bondholders get big interest payments, and now when those board members go out to buy a luxury private jet, they get a big tax break. A Gulfstream G600 is currently listed for $63 million. Can the Prime Minister tell us how much a Brookfield executive will save with the private jet tax cut and how much more Canadians will have to pay when food prices go up?
I'm sorry, pardon.
Sorry, the Honourable Parliamentary Secretary for Housing and Infrastructure. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Canadians do not live in a pretend world. They know there is no tax on food. They know which party always vote against affordability, against dental care, pharmacare, child care, basically anything with the word care in it. But most importantly, Canadians know that our government is there for them with a budget that will protect jobs in critical sectors like auto, steel, aluminum, lumber, build affordable housing and the infrastructures our communities need all across Canada, empower, catalyze our economy. So if you're really there for Canadians, you'll vote for the budget. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, the Liberals promised to spend less but have introduced the largest budget deficit in history outside of COVID. This at a time when 1 in 5 Canadians say they've skipped paying a bill to afford groceries this past year. Liberals had a chance to lower food prices. Instead, they increased the industrial carbon tax on our farms, driving up the cost of fertilizer and farm equipment. Why is this Prime Minister increasing the industrial carbon tax and making food more expensive?
Hear, hear. The Honourable Secretary of State for Labour.
Mr. Speaker, if that member should take next week and go and meet with her local chapters of the building trades in her riding. I encourage every member to take next week to meet with the locals to understand why they are supporting this budget. From coast to coast to coast, workers are supporting our plan. The Canadian building trades, the Alberta building trades, the IBEW, the carpenters, on and on. They are endorsing the investments made in this budget, Mr. Speaker. The SEIU said it best. Promises made, promises kept. Mr. Speaker, they're supporting the investments because we're building good jobs, good union jobs.
The Honourable Member for North Island Powell River.
After 10 years of Liberal government, young Canadians are struggling. They're struggling to afford homes in one of the least affordable housing markets in the world. They're struggling to find jobs in an economy that is increasingly slowing down. And they're struggling just to afford food after some of the highest food inflation in more than 30 years. This budget was an opportunity to do right by the next generation. Instead, the Liberals announced over $300 billion in new debt that will be left to these exact same young Canadians to pay for. How is that ethical? How is that fair? How is that remotely fiscally responsible?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Mr. Speaker, one number, 67,000 jobs created. And how are we supporting them? We are supporting them by investing in their health. And through Budget 2025, we're investing $5 billion to renew hospitals and healthcare centers, $97 million to recognize skilled professionals faster, and new supports for personal support workers. And Mr. Speaker, don't just take it from me, take it from CMA. They're saying this is a right step in the right direction to support the health of our nation. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member for North Island Powell River.
I have a simple question for the Liberal government. Over the past 10 years, they have doubled Canada's national debt. In that same time, unsurprisingly, they have also doubled the amount of taxpayers' money that they waste paying interest on that debt. In fact, today we now spend $55 billion a year just on interest payments. That's more than we collect in the GST. That's more than we spend on healthcare. And now they want to borrow another $320 billion. Does this government really think that spending $55 billion not on healthcare, not on roads, but on interest is a good use of taxpayer money, yes or no?
The Honourable Secretary of State for Sport.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. We are building Canada strong, and that includes the spaces and places that Canadians go to play, to practice, and to exercise, Mr. Speaker. A healthy lifestyle is preventative medicine, and we are building the facilities necessary right across this country. New rinks, new pools, new field houses, so the next generation of Canadians can have better physical literacy, a healthier lifestyle, and they can connect with their communities in those important places, Mr. Speaker. Why won't the Conservatives join us? Build Canada strong and make sure that every community has access to those facilities, that infrastructure that keeps us healthy and our communities connected.
Speaker, top executives at the Prime Minister's company, Brookfield, are defying an order of this House to testify at committee about his use of offshore tax havens. This is tantamount to contempt of Parliament. So, will the Prime Minister pick up the phone and tell his pals at Brookfield to comply with the House order, or is he complicit in the cover-up?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the news today was that we created 67,000 jobs. 67, Mr. Speaker. It's great news. We are growing the economy, and the budget 2025, is making historic investments that are going to keep this economy moving for generations to come. Mr. Speaker, why don't the Conservatives stand up and support this investment budget?
Honourable member for St. Albert, Sturgeon River.
Mr. Speaker, evidently he is complicit, because here are the facts. The Prime Minister was chair of the company that is Canada's biggest tax dodger. Not only that, he set up investment funds in Bermuda and the Cayman Islands in which he stands to make millions. The Prime Minister has a responsibility to come clean, and to come clean today. How much cash does he have stashed in offshore tax havens?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister has a responsibility to help build this country and to create jobs, and we created 67,000 jobs in the last month alone. We have a plan in Budget 2025 to build this country up by building major projects, including in that member's riding and province. We have investments to help support young people in this country, to build up apprentices, to be able to drive this country forward. Mr. Speaker, that is what we are focused on this side of this House, supporting Canadians, creating good jobs, and helping drive this country forward, Mr. Speaker. That's what we're going to keep doing.
Honourable member for Hamilton East, Stony Creek.
This government is the most expensive in Canadian history. Every dollar the Prime Minister spends comes out of the pockets of Canadians. The more they spend, the more things cost, like housing. The Ontario Home Builders Association said they are deeply disappointed with the Liberal budget and that it fails to unlock supply and restore affordability. The government's inaction on housing has put 40,000 jobs at risk in Ontario, and the impact of these losses on the Ontario economy could be $5.3 billion. How can the Liberal budget cost so much but yet deliver so little to Canadians?
The Honourable Minister of Justice.
Mr. Speaker, Oscar Wilde described a cynic as someone who knows the cost of everything but the value of nothing. On this side of the House, we value investments in healthcare. We value investments in jobs. We value investments in the Canadian Armed Forces, and we value investments in housing. This is irony and hypocrisy on full display when the member stands up advocating for more money for housing before he votes against a budget that has record investments in housing. On this side of the House, we're going to listen to Canadians, make the investments and improve their quality of life. I wish for once the Conservatives could do the same.